So, I've heard mostly mixed things on this one, and coming off of Devastation, while the bar has been set kinda high. I'm gonna give Mutants and Mayhem his chance though, and it's the same director for Korra, so it wasn't half bad. Even with its bad reputation, I'm still pretty excited to check it out. But first, this is combat overview. Here we go over the general controls, their main mechanics, who or what we use them on, and then seeing how it all comes together. Okay, so, you got your light attacks with its own combo, and heavy attacks you chain into, creating different enders. Doesn't really matter too much here. You'll see why soon enough. So, okay, defenses. Tap R2 to dodge, hold it to block, and can move around slightly. Blocking at the last moment will have you slide behind him, kind of like a perfect dodge, but no slow-mo time effect. Just a little counterattack afterwards. Our dodge also takes priority, canceling out attacks at any point, which is nice. We even have a parry. You gotta be blocking first and then drop it to do it. It's basically like Smash Ultimate, the best comparison out there. Now all of these run on this meter to keep you in check, because smash and dodge or any of those other options will get you a little dizzy, losing control for a second. Not too bad, and hey, there's even a dodge offsetting here too. Just like last time, it works more like Onin Chambada and Devastation, just attack, dodge, and attack again to continue where you left off. Now, as cool as it sounds to have all of this stuff, it's not really worth the time or hassle to use them because it's just better to mash. Looking at the HUD, pizza slices for health, you can swap between turtles on the fly, and pressing your face button while holding L2 will use ninjutsu. They're skills that run on cooldowns and they can be for combo attacks, slow down time, or to drop heals. Customizable too, which ones you want and where can be upgraded and all that too. Speaking of that, there is a shot, and here one of the items is this hook shot. Yeah, it's similar to the one we just saw in Devastation, it'll pull enemies in. Definitely not as good though, since you have to manually aim it each and every time, making it pretty cumbersome to use mid-fight. But hey, it's here, I guess. The only pro about it is you can use it for a little movement, which isn't too bad. When it comes to enemies, there's a few different foot soldiers that you'll see majority of the time. Mousers show up and a bit more, but it doesn't really matter too much. They all jumble up in a blob and they don't really make you approach them differently, which doesn't help if you want to do fun, well thought out plays when you can't see what they're about to do. So you'll just smash away, tossing the lights and using the jutsus when the cooldowns are done. Bosses are pretty bland damage sponges. Comparing it to Devastation, yeah, these guys don't give a fun back and forth at all. They just stand around to tank hits. Your ninjutsu works on them, but after they're done, again, just smash away while those cooldowns reset. The final boss is pretty cool, going up against Shredder. We're all on this flying platform above the city as this portal makes everything spin around you. It's pretty hype, but it's still the same damage sponge fight like the rest of them, sadly. And that's TMNT Mutants in Manhattan. I can see what they're going for. It's a way more multiplayer focused game. You have the custom loadouts, charms / skills to level up, commands to talk to your team, and the random drops after each mission for you to grind, and yeah. Seems like it'll be real fun to have an action multiplayer game to play with some buds made by Platinum, but what ends up happening, it creates a mess to play. All 4 players on screen just tossing out attacks and ninjutsus, plus the enemies group up super close. You really can't see what they're doing, can't see the patterns or if they're launched or some other state. You can't pull out these different defensive options either that do sound fun to use, but there's no real chance to use them. You really have to go out of your way to pull these out. So it just makes it even more of a reason to mash away while waiting on those cooldowns to reset. It really reminds me of Ultimate Alliance 3. Extremely nice art style that works great with this popular IP. It's made by a dev team with a solid action game background, heavy emphasis on its multiplayer aspect, those cooldown skills, some for attacking, support, or even tag team properties. And well, yeah, both suffer from having way too much on screen with button mashing combat in every fight. Pretty grindy to make this build, and enemies kind of stand around to be damage sponges so your team has something to beat up. Plus you go to uninteresting places that's reused a lot, mainly the sewer, and objectives you do are very stop and go, making this pacing kinda rough. You do go to the city stage later, but it's not a full map or anything like that. Just got a few rooftops to work with. But yeah, you'll go back to the sewer soon after the fight, sponging enemies and sitting around disarming bombs again. They try to make things interesting with little stage interactions, but yeah, back to mashing. Crazy thing is, some of these are exactly in Devastation. The gear or the screen clutter can get a bit wild at times, the AI teammates in select fights, even the reused map, right? But they found that sweet spot to balance it all. The amount of combat options to use is just on another level. But Mutants falls short. It doesn't have the fast, responsive gameplay, it doesn't use its art style for eye-catching set pieces, the loop is slow overall for every mission, doesn't have fun movement to get around these larger areas, the objectives are pretty boring since you have to sit there for quite a while, and enemies don't have you approach them differently, making all your options kinda useless. Well, guess they were all right about this one. Just leans into its grindy multiplayer setup a little too much to make a fun action game. And then seeing what happened with Babylon's Fall years later, guess the dream of having a top-notch action multiplayer game, but Platinum just isn't meant to be. But hey, maybe next time.